In this video, we're going to talk about how to stop sabotaging your progress in CrossFit. One of the reasons people love CrossFit is because it's just a game changer type of workout. It's something that, for me, when I started, I had never experienced before. I'd never experienced that level of intensity, really since I was like a teenager in junior high. We had some intense workouts, we had some hard training when I was a gymnast. I was a competitive gymnast for a couple of years there. And 20 years later, I finally discovered what it's like to actually feel that intensity again. And it was wild. I had done workouts at the rec center, at the Globo gym, tried on and off for years to try to find something that fits, and reluctantly tried out my first CrossFit class and loved it. And day 2, I took my credit card in and I literally just take my money. Whatever you charge, just charge me that. But because CrossFit is a different style of training and it does involve intensity and you're in that group environment and there's a little bit of competitiveness to it, it's easy to slip into habits that could mess up your progress and worst case, actually leave you injured. So let's dive in to some of the biggest pitfalls, the mistakes, and the myths. And don't worry, we'll not only talk about that, but we'll talk about how to fix them. When I train hard, I need the right fuel, and that means proper hydration with electrolytes. That's why I rely on Element. It's got everything I need with no junk, just 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium to keep me hydrated, recover faster, and perform at my best. Whether you're crushing workouts, recovering, or just living an active lifestyle, electrolytes are essential to prevent fatigue, muscle cramps, and dehydration. Element has been a game changer for me, and I know it'll make a difference for you. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serving packets free. Head to drinkelement.com/Jason Grubb to get yours. That's drinklmnt.com/Jason Grubb. This deal is exclusive through my link. We're going to talk about some common CrossFit mistakes and some myths. We're going to debunk the myths and fix those mistakes. When I started CrossFit, I looked around and I was super confused about how everyone else was so good at this. And I thought I was somewhat fit. I could run 20 miles a week. I was overweight, but I wasn't super fit. But everyone around me was 10 times fitter than me. Even people that were looked less in shape than I did. I was super confused. And because of that, I went too hard, too fast, too soon. And like lots of you that started CrossFit, or if you haven't started CrossFit, I went in and I just went out hot. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to try to catch up to these guys as fast as possible. And I hurt myself within the first 3 weeks. And I think it was on a row. I was trying to row as fast as everyone else that I was racing against in this one workout. And I'm pretty sure I bruised a rib, pulling the rower handle so hard. I think I hit a rib, but I hurt something. And it took me out for a few days. I also went too hard and too fast, taking weight overhead. And I re-injured a shoulder that had an injury from when I was in 9th grade as a gymnast. It was a rotator cuff injury, and so I had a really hard time for a couple of months at the beginning of my CrossFit journey going overhead with a barbell or throwing wall balls or catching wall balls because I just went too hard and too fast. So I made mistakes, and what I want to help you do is help you avoid mistakes early in your CrossFit career or even later in your CrossFit career. So stick around. I'm going to show you the right way to level up your fitness. Mistake number 1, ignoring proper form and technique. The movements we do in CrossFit are powerful and they build huge amounts of muscle and capacity, especially when done correctly. But when you move poorly, you put yourself at risk of injury. And honestly, you don't recruit the right muscle groups when you do things the wrong way. It's always better to prioritize form over intensity. Learn the fundamentals. Figure out how to move the right way. When I first started, I could not squat below parallel. I had jogged for 15, 20 years on and off, and I never, ever needed to squat. So without holding a weight in front of me or something to counterbalance me, I couldn't squat below parallel. I would just fall down, and I was just amazed that everyone else could, just sit in a squat position. It took years for me to actually build up that mobility. But that mobility comes when you move correctly and you don't overly push it. In CrossFit, we're doing movements that put huge loads and strain on our back, our legs, shoulders, and they're totally safe. when you move correctly. So dial it back, dial down the intensity, dial down the weights. Make sure you get those fundamental movements down correctly. For me, even now, I'm 11 years into this journey, and I'm 3 weeks into a 7-week cycle as I prepare for the CrossFit Open. And for Olympic weightlifting, our numbers, our percentages are very, very low early in this cycle. And it's kind of fun to lift much, much lighter, to create even more muscle memory of moving really well, really properly with lighter loads. It's about consistency. Bottom line, it's not about how much you can lift today, but how consistently you can lift well and stay healthy over time. Mistake number 2, skipping nutrition and sleep. This is a mistake that I made early on in my CrossFit career. I could have done all this faster and more efficiently if I would have paid attention to sleep and nutrition from the start. You can't out-train poor recovery, poor nutrition habits. Without proper fuel, and enough rest, your body doesn't repair your muscles as well, and you're not replenishing your energy. And for me, I was a thicker guy, so as I started CrossFit in those first couple of years, I was really afraid to eat enough food because I was afraid I was just going to get fat again. But as you get going, you'll discover that you'll lose weight, and that's great. I got super ripped, and I really aesthetically liked that, and that was great. But I wanted to be a great athlete, and a great athlete feeds himself or herself well enough to take care of their body. It's so those first couple of years, while I was thin, I looked ripped, I wasn't strong, and I really struggled in the gym with recovery. Like I just didn't feel great every day. Now that I eat enough, I'm not as ripped as I was, but I feel great, and I'm, performing at the best in the world, some might say. You don't have to eat perfectly, but if you're wondering, do a quick search on my YouTube channel, how I consume 3,000 calories a day. I eat almost the same thing every day, and I enjoy it. I like what I eat. That's important. You want to like what you eat, but also you just want to pay attention. You want to know your numbers. It's not hard. Take a look at that video. It'll help. And as far as sleep goes, you want to shoot for 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Not something that all of us can do. In my early years of CrossFit, I had little kids. So there were lots of wake ups in the middle of the night. I wasn't getting quite enough sleep. And I also just stayed up late and I got up early. I was building a business in a CrossFit gym. So I was coaching 5 a.m. classes and I was staying up till 11 o'clock at night. Lots of bad habits there. But deep sleep is where your body does most of the rebuilding. And this is just my experience, but as soon as I started sleeping 8 hours a night and eating enough food, that was the year that I qualified for the CrossFit Games, and I went and I took 3rd place in my first year. For sleep, just create a good habit. Limit your screen time just before bed, sleep in a cool room, drink Thirdsy before bed to make sure you get the best sleep of your life, wind down by doing something relaxing, do whatever you need to do to get good sleep and enough sleep. Once I dialed in my nutrition and made sleep a priority, I saw significant growth and changes and success in my athletic journey. Mistake number 3 is jumping into more advanced movement patterns before you're ready. So, you're not that far into CrossFit and you're like, I am going to just start squat snatching. I'm going to be doing kipping and butterfly pull-ups, muscle ups. It's no problem. But without a proper foundation, you're going to be frustrated and you're probably going to end up injured. I think about when I was trying to do squat snatches a month or 2 into CrossFit. I couldn't squat below parallel and I could not do an overhead squat with a PVC pipe, let alone an empty bar. And I'm watching all of the other athletes around me and I have FOMO. They're doing squat snatches, so I'm going to try to do squat snatches. And it was just a mess. I mean, just imagine a guy that doesn't have the shoulder mobility to be vertical with his torso doing an overhead squat. So instead I'm over rotating. I'm, internally rotating my shoulders. The bar is basically behind my head. I'm folded in half trying to do an overhead squat. Oh wait, a squat snatch into that position. No. There's no rush. Take your time. You've got a long runway ahead of you. And if you're like me, you entered CrossFit not being a super mobile person. And look, I'm super jealous of those people that just walk in and they can just squat their butts to the ground as if they're like a 4-year-old and put their arms straight above their head as if it's no problem. I wish I was that. I'm still 11 years into this, continually working on mobility to keep the mobility that I have and increase it slightly. It just takes a really, really long time. But you can become a very fit human being without doing the most complex movements. Let's take pull-ups, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes in more depth. But as an example, we don't need to be doing butterfly pull-ups out the gate. Like those are an advanced movement pattern that you're going to do in a competitive environment to build strength, to build foundation to do butterfly pull-ups or fast pull-ups. We really want to master the strict pull-up. There's a lot of muscles that need to catch up to be able to do that. We also need a lot of shoulder mobility to be able to do kipping pull-ups or butterfly pull-ups. That's got gotta take time to develop. And if you scale with a purpose, with the idea that I'm gonna get good at these fundamentals before I just start blasting off at the more advanced skills, you're gonna keep yourself safe. You're gonna allow your body to catch up with the movements that you're trying to do. You're gonna remain injury-free and just live a happier life. Don't be in a hurry. Take your time. Your body will get there. Consistency is the winner. That's obviously a theme that we're going to be getting at here. Now I want to talk about some myths about CrossFit that may deter you from even starting CrossFit at all. Myth number 1, squatting deep is bad for your knees. That couldn't be further from the truth. If you want a true professional on this, just do a YouTube search for Squat University and watch all of the videos where he talks about squatting deep. It is very good for you and for the human body. It's something that if you can't do, there are things you can do to gain the mobility to squat deep. Deep squats with proper form actually strengthen your knees, strengthen your overall stability. So you gotta squat below parallel. If you can't now, work your way towards it. It's very, very important. Squatting above parallel would be robbing your body of all of the benefits of the movements we do in CrossFit where we go below parallel in a squat. You might have to work on ankle and hip mobility. You might have to take your time like we talked about already. It's no rush. You've got a long way in front of you. Don't settle for squats that are above parallel. That is not where you want to be. Deep squats are very healthy for us. Deadlifts are bad for your back. I mean, this myth couldn't be further from the truth. When done properly, a deadlift can strengthen your core and your back more than just about any other movement. So, like anything else, learn to do it correctly, take your time, build up, and get heavy with deadlifts. When I first started CrossFit, I was nervous. I was really nervous about deadlifts, but I took my time. I was lifting maybe 100 pounds when I first started. Within a few months, I was deadlifting 200 pounds. Again, being smart, being careful, and 12 years later, I'm deadlifting 500 pounds. And it's one of those things that you just want to do continually, often. It builds your core, builds your posterior chain, and look, I want to be able to lift up heavy things for the rest of my life, and that's a deadlift. Very functional, not bad for your back, for goodness sakes. Myth number 3, kipping pull-ups are cheating. A kipping pull-up is a pull-up. A strict pull-up is a pull-up. A wide grip pull-up is a pull-up. A supinated grip is a pull-up. They're all pull-ups. A kipping pull-up is a variation of a pull-up. In CrossFit, we like to do all the versions of pull-ups to make us well-rounded athletes. The kipping pull-up just requires timing and core strength in addition to the pulling strength you need for pull-ups, and it's a way to get through a lot of pull-ups fast. It's not something you start out doing. You start by developing the foundation of a strict pull-up, and then you start developing the movement patterns, the core to extremity patterns for the kipping pull-up. Then you move on to the butterfly pull-up and you move fast. But in training, you develop all of your pulling movements, whether it's on a pull-up bar, on rings up high, or rings down low. All of them are appropriate for overall fitness. But if you're just starting out, start with strict, get that first, and then start working on kipping. Another myth that's out there is that you have to do every workout as written. Just whatever it says, you have to do it that way. And that's certainly not the case. As I was developing my ability to do higher skills or heavier lifts, I had to scale workouts. Scaling means that you modify the workout so that it fits your fitness level. And you don't start out at the top of your game. You don't even start out to where you could do the workouts as written on a whiteboard. If you have a coach, you talk to your coach. How do I modify this workout to get the best workout for me and my skin and my body, the way that I am built right now? And then you do the workout like that. If you try to do the workout as written too soon, too early, you're not quite ready for it, probably going to end up getting hurt. Or maybe it's a workout that you should be done with in a very short time. Maybe it's a 5-minute workout, but it takes you 15 minutes to get through it. You're not getting the stimulus of that workout. You're not doing that workout the way it's supposed to be done. A 5-minute workout should be kind of like a sprint, really high heart rate, that kind of workout. If it takes you 15 minutes to get through it, you certainly weren't sprinting and you're doing a different workout. So it's okay to set your ego aside. It's okay to modify a workout to make it work for you. Nothing wrong with that. And over time, you will build yourself up. Not every workout has to be done as prescribed. More workouts equals better results. Absolute myth. And look, these are all things that I learned on my journey. So when I was building myself up into a competitive athlete, I thought, this was back in 2016, that more workouts meant I would become fitter and I'd become stronger. And what I ended up doing is plateauing because I wasn't able to eat enough food, get enough sleep and recovery as a 40-year-old for the amount of training that I was doing. So I was taking 1 step forward, 1.5 steps back. I wasn't like going backwards, but I wasn't progressing as much as I should have. More workouts doesn't always mean you're going to get stronger and better. Being smart about your training, knowing how much your body can handle, and being patient to build up your tolerance, to build up your capacity over time, that's the key to success. I'm 49 years old and I work out quite a bit, but I know that if I were to work out more, it would be detrimental to my health, to my fitness, and my success as an athlete. Same thing for everybody across the board. More workouts doesn't necessarily mean better results. So look, if you want to take your fitness journey, your CrossFit journey to another level, you're gonna have to follow a program consistently. You can't change programs over and over again. You can't start and stop over and over again. You need to find something that's a fit for you, that works for you, and then just trust the process. Don't wake up every day trying to figure out what you're gonna do. Find a program. I have a program, actually, if you're interested. Boulder Athlete for competitive masters athletes is a great program to help you become a better CrossFit athlete. We also have Boulder Body, which is just a general fitness program. Whether you go to a Globo gym or garage gym, or you pop into an open gym at a CrossFit gym, it's gonna make you very, very fit without the competitive side of CrossFit. Either way, I've got a program. You can join a CrossFit gym that has great reviews, has great coaches. You gotta hire a one-on-one coach. There's lots of ways to do this, but you don't have to do it on your own. Not every program is a perfect fit. Find one, stick to it for the long haul. You'll be amazed at what consistency can do in the long run. I mean, that's a silly way to say it, but it's true. In my life, I've been very consistent. I've been careful. I've been able to stay injury-free because I haven't overtrained. I haven't overdone things. I've followed a program consistently for years and years now. Now I write a program that I follow, and I don't deviate from it. I don't add extra things. I don't remove things. If you want to know exactly what I do every day, day in and day out, without skipping a thing, Boulder Athlete. I follow the elite track. That's what I do. There's no secrets. And I share everything else I do on this YouTube channel. I share what I eat. I share how I sleep. I share how I recover. I'm sharing all the secrets, and I just do all of them consistently. And by being consistent, I have been able to become one of the best CrossFit athletes in the Masters division. That may not be the outcome for everybody, but success looks different for everybody, and that's totally cool. If you found this to be helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I love sharing my process, I love sharing my journey, and I'm happy to help. Leave a comment. I try to answer all comments. And remember, your best days are ahead of you. Fortune favors the bold. See you next time.